Thank you all for coming. I'm joined by my great colleagues here. Now, it seems like every day some new revelation emphasizes our request for relevant witnesses and documents in this trial and gives it momentum. There's been a steady drip, drip, drip of information. The truth leaking out in one explosive article after another. And it sort of shows something. It confirms the details from Ambassador Bolton get to the very heart of the first article of impeachment. The same New York Times story places Mick Mulvaney at the center of this plot. He's a more important witness probably than Bolton. And the emails from Duffy and Blair, the two other witnesses we seek, are even more relevant as this information comes out. So I understand why Leader McConnell and President Trump wanted a very short, incredibly rushed trial, because the longer it goes on, the more likely that new evidence and more new evidence will come out that further implicates the president. Colleagues are going to amazing lengths. President Trump and Ambassador Bolton said diametrically opposed things. Only one of them is willing to testify under oath. Who do you believe? When only Bolton is willing to testify under oath and Trump isn't, who's right? Who do we think is right? Who do most Republicans think is right in their minds? What can Hunter Biden tell us about the president's conduct with Ukraine? What can Hunter Biden tell us about the president's obstruction of Congress? Nothing, obviously. The bottom line is very simple. They are always looking for a shiny object to divert attention from the facts and the law against the president. Hunter Biden has nothing to do with the facts of this trial. And it sort of shows something. It confirms something. President Trump is so obsessed with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden that he's willing to risk our elections and our national security to go after him, and now the president and his lawyers are willing to risk the solemnity and purpose of an impeachment trial to go after him. And one of the great moments yesterday that was amazing, after the revelations about Bolton had come out, there is Mr. Sekulow pointing to the 4 things they're going to prove, and the third one is there are no eyewitnesses to what President Trump did that have testified. Give me a break. He has the nerve and the gall to get up there and say that there are no eyewitness testimony when we know that John Bolton has eyewitness testimony and is willing to testify. The bottom line remains. It is on the shoulders of 4 Republican senators to ensure that John Bolton, Mick Mulvaney, and the others with direct knowledge of the president's actions testify in a Senate trial. So I heard a proposal that recently came from 2 Republicans, I think this morning, Langford and Graham, that we get the manuscript and read it in the SCIF in secret. What an absurd proposal. It's a book. There's no need for it to be read in the SCIF unless you want to hide something. To what extent are some of our Republican colleagues going to twist themselves an entire pretzel to avoid the truth? McConnell came up, he couldn't get the votes to just say no witnesses and no documents. He would have done that had he could. So he came up with this plan, let's kick the can down the road. And now they have this vote first on whether we should have any witnesses or any documents. And are we in better shape today than we were yesterday? Yes. Am I certain we're going to win that? Far from it. The enormous pressure from a president who we know is nasty and vindictive to anyone who opposes him is large. Ask Flake, ask Corker.